Welcome back to Blue Flag Bandits, the series that drives the worst F1 has to offer, from 2010 all the way up to the present day, whenever that may be, using the Codemasters series. And we are on the penultimate round of 2011. We're heading to Abu Dhabi, Yas Marina, in the Team Lotus T128, as you can see by all the green and yellow ahead of you, for round 18 of our second season. We're very close to finishing another season, and it hasn't been a great one for Team Lotus, that's for sure. Better than they had in the real world, mainly through luck, possibly. Heroic performances, perhaps, if you want to rate them as such. But it has been a season that's been predominantly 0 point. I had a quick little peek at the spreadsheet I keep of all the results, just to kind of see where we're at. I can always then keep up to date with the latest graphics per race that show you the previous results based on, obviously, each team. And it's quite the sea of red for 2011. There's one green spot. And that green spot is what netted us those 12 points. That fourth place in Singapore, really our only highlight of what has been a tough season. But India, the last round, actually not too bad. We had a decent race. All right pace, actually, and fought right to the end to just get past Sergio Perez. Which, yeah, robust move, but a move nonetheless, and a position that I kept. But there we are, P16 in the driver's stand-ins ahead of Adrian Sutil on level points, then past Maldonado, our rival, Rubens Barrichello, Jerome D'Ambrosio, Timo Glock in the Virgin Racing cars, Kartikeyan and Liuzzi in the HRTs, and Jarno Trulli, our teammate, 0 points. Trulli on for the second season in a row where he scores nothing and finishes last. Not great for the experienced Italian. At the top end of things, Mark Webber took the lead by 22 points ahead of his teammate Sebastian Vettel, who was 5 ahead of Fernando Alonso. So 27 between the top 3 going into the final 2 rounds, 50 on board, or 50 on the table, should I say, obviously. So this title could be going right to the wire. Mark Webber trying to defend his 2010, or his 2010 in our universe. Jenson Button out of the title fight now in 4th ahead of Lewis Hamilton. And then it's Massa, Schumacher, Petrov, Rosberg, Heidfeld jumped Sergio Perez after the Indian Grand Prix. He's dropped out of the top 10 for the first time in a long time, but he's only a point behind the German. Then it's Alguersuari, Kobayashi, Di Resta, Buemi, and then ourselves. In the Constructors, we're 9th, ahead of Williams, Virgin Racing and HRT. Red Bull wrapped up the Constructors last time around. They are the Constructors champions for the second season run in. McLaren not far ahead of Ferrari. That battle for second probably going to the wire here as well. Mercedes should be safe in 4th, as Lotus should be safe in 5th. Then it's Sauber, Toro Rosso, Force India, and ourselves. As I said, India proved to actually be all right. It wasn't... Qualifying was our normal sort of Q1 elimination, but it wasn't 19th. It was 18th. And then the race, we picked an alternate strategy, or the game actually picked an alternate strategy. Set us off on the primes, did a prime option, had decent pace throughout the entire race period, ran in the top 10 a couple of times, and then at the end we were just closing, and managed to just pit Perez to the post to take P13, which doesn't sound like much, but when you consider where this car's been for most of this season, 12th in Monaco was one of our better results, and then I think it was a 13th and a 14th were our better other results, other than that 4th place in Singapore. So a result like that on a new circuit like India as well, fairly confidence boosting coming in to Abu Dhabi. Obviously this is the OG layout of the circuit, so it's got the additional chicanes and the kind of awkward little bit up at the top, which is now that long sweeping left-hander. It's obviously got that tricky little triple chicane in it. But we came here last season not expecting a huge amount and came away with 25 points and a comfortable race victory. I don't anticipate that's going to be the same in this car, but maybe, just maybe, we'll have a decent run of it here as well. Let's get into practice then. And as we do, we'll talk about the 2011 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The penultimate round of the 2011 season saw the teams head to Abu Dhabi for the third running of the Grand Prix at Yas Marina. This round would see Liuzzi return to the HRT after being replaced by Kartikeyan in India. Practice would see Pirelli provide an experimental tyre, which was used by Lewis Hamilton, who set the early pace. The first session would draw to a close with Button topping the timesheets ahead of Webber and Hamilton. The second session would see two incidents. One involving Vettel, who span at turn 1 and lodged himself between the barriers, while Alonso also found himself hitting the same barrier later on. Hamilton would top the session ahead of Button and Alonso. Hamilton would also top the final session ahead of the two Red Bulls. Qualifying would start with the usual sight of Team Lotus, Virgin Racing and HRT failing at the first hurdle, joined by Barrichello, who was unable to set the time due to an oil leak, though he would be allowed to start. The second session would be briefly red flagged after a loose bollard made its way onto the track and was driven over by Massa, who escaped without any damage. There were no major shocks in that second part of qualifying, though. Maldonado, both Lotus Renaults, both Saubers and both Toro Rossos were eliminated. It would be, who else? Sebastian Vettel, who took pole at the end of qualifying, his 14th pole of the season, equalling Nigel Mansell's record for poles in a season. Hamilton would start second ahead of Button, Webber, Alonso and Massa.
That lap put you at the top of the table.
Vettel would lead into turn 1, but would spin out into retirement at the very next corner with an unexplained puncture. Alonso would jump ahead of Button into second behind Hamilton, the Brit hustling the back of the Ferrari through the middle sector. As the race progressed, Button and Webber would engage in a titanic scrap for third, the pair switching positions on almost a lap-by-lap basis, using the DRS to a great advantage. Webber would, however, find himself behind Button and Massa after the pit stops, at one point running off the road in his pursuit of the pair. Unfortunately for the spectators, the race would settle in traditional Abu Dhabi race. A few DRS passes here and there, but with little action as Lewis Hamilton cruised to victory ahead of Alonso and Button, the Brit holding off Webber at the end. Massa, Rosberg, Schumacher, Sutton, De Resta and Kobayashi would complete the top 10. What can we hope for at Yas Marina? Well, we took a surprising and comfortable victory in 2010, somehow being the class of the field, but that seems very unlikely in the T128. At least we know this place, unlike the last couple, which may help us out a little bit, but there's not going to be any rain to level the playing field out here. Q2 might be a stretch. So, let's try and snag 18th place and be best of those eliminated in the first part of qualifying.
Okay, you should be able to get into the next qualifying session easily, so try to get a hot lap in early so we can save the tyres.
In the garage then, for qualifying at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, practice was okay, invalidated a couple of laps on the entry into the hotel section. Track limits there seemingly super strict, but ended P14, which wasn't too bad, much like the last couple of rounds though. Decent-ish practice one, and then not really able to find the pace in qualifying. But let's get out there, get some laps in, see if we can get through to Q2 at Abu Dhabi.
That's 4th place, you've moved up to 4th.
So then, fastest lap in Q1 a little bit early in the turn on turn 1, but it's the same with turn 2. Ride the curbs wherever we can to try and shave just a little bit off. Ride that curb through 3. Car doesn't want to stick, but we're okay. 2 tenths up in the first sector, only 4 tenths off Al-Ghashwari. We seem to have pace to be able to fight all over the curbs through the chicane. Same with the hairpin, just try and slingshot off before this long back straight down to another chicane. It's that kind of circuit where it feels like there should be no rhythm, and I'm kind of glad they've changed it in the modern era. This chicane obviously remains. We brake nice and early, get it turned in wonderfully well, run a little wide as the tyres lock, but we get through the chicane cleanly, no riding the curbs this time. Off to this triple chicane at the back end of the circuit. We have to go past a car slow on the inside, but we get on the brakes nice and early. We're nearly a second up on our best time, and still only like 7 tenths off Al-Ghashwari. Ride the curbs there to shorten the distance, and then neatly out of the exit. Coming into the hotel section, the track limits here were surprisingly strict. A little wide as we tried to keep the power down there. They weren't strict on that corner, but this corner in practice caught us out a few times. We wide on the apex to try to avoid any invalidations as we head under the bridge for the final couple of corners. Nice and tight on the penultimate corner, maybe a little wide on exit in the end, but we slingshot our way through the final corner. Is this lap going to be good enough to get us through?
You could probably improve your times in all sectors.
And something we've been threatening for the last couple of rounds comes true. We are through to Q2. Just a couple of tenths of a second ahead of Duresta and Petrov. Petrov, the one dropping out there alongside Barrichello, Trulli, Kartikayan, Liuzzi, D'Ambrosio, and Glock. And yeah, all right, Q2 at Abu Dhabi. Don't think we're going to advance too much further. Car doesn't seem to want to go any faster, or I don't seem to want to go any faster, but Q2 is a really solid performance. Let's get into that second session and see what we can do. In the garage then for the second part of qualifying at Abu Dhabi. I mean, it wasn't a huge margin that got us through, but it was enough. And I'd say that's probably about the peak of our pace. But it did seem that people were struggling. The AI struggling in certain spots. Vettel was way down for a long period. So, why don't we get out there, see what we can do, and see if we can make it just a little further up the grid.
That last lap puts you into 8th.
That's the lap in Q2 then. Much neater through turn 1 than we were in Q1. But turn 2 we take even more curb, almost clipping the wall. Not too bad though. Again, riding the curb through 3, car feels like it wants to break away, but it sticks and we get into the chicane fairly comfortably. Over half a second up. And still only 8 tenths of a second off Vettel. A little wide through the middle of the chicane, but we slingshot into the hairpin this time. Get a really great run onto the back straight. Again, you're just waiting until you can get to the braking point here. Have to drift with the kind of line that appears through this straight just to get the perfect entry into the chicane. Brake early enough, catch a little bit of curb, but we're able to then get neatly on the apex through the chicane. Out onto this back straight where these days it's another DRS zone. As we head down to this triple chicane at the top end. We're still up, way up, 1.1 up on our best time, but 2 seconds off Vettel there. The pace has really shot up in Q2 and we don't really have any. But we get through the final part of the midsection in not too bad condition. Riding the curbs again, managing to keep a bit more pace through that long right-hander, and a little neater as we enter the hotel section. Again, clipping the apex but not getting too close to it to avoid invalidation as we head towards the final couple of corners. Penultimate corner, get enough curb to bounce the car through. Final corner, go a little early, take a bit too much. Gun it for the line. Can we make it into
You're losing
Q3?
lots of time in the final 2 sectors. We're out. We didn't make the shootout.
As expected, out in
That's the
Q2.
session over. We're only slightly off the pace in 17th. 17th on the grid.
About half a second off Maldonado and Duresta. Extracted everything we could out the car and then stacked it, coming through the fast S's just at the start of the lap, as we did. by the time we had the repairs done, there was 10 seconds left and we were down in 17th and weren't going to make any further. Just no real pace, but made it through to Q2 nonetheless, which is more than I expected. The race could be quite an interesting one. Let's head over to the Grand Prix. You find us in the garage for the 2011 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. P17 in the end. Actually alright, to be fair. We got out of Q1, which is more than I was expecting. But this is going to be quite the difficult race, I feel. And let's take a look at the grid before we get into what we expect to happen. Fernando Alonso takes yet another pole position ahead of Jenson Button. Vettel's in third, Massa's fourth, and Webber, trying to clinch the title this weekend, is in fifth. And it's Hamilton, Rosberg, Schumacher, Heidfeld. Perez breaks the top 10 monopoly this time around, with Kobayashi, Alguersuari, Buemi, Sutil, De Resta, Maldonado and ourselves behind him. Petrov dropped out in Q1, else he'd probably be in the top 10, but he's there with Barrichello, Trulli, Kartikeyan, Liuzzi, D'Ambrosio and Glock. And listen, we took an unprecedented victory here last season, one that I didn't expect we'd get. Don't think anybody expected we'd take a victory in the Virgin Racing VR01 last season, but we managed it. It's not going to happen this season. In this car, we're far too slow. I think this is going to be one of those races more like Korea than it was India. I don't think we're necessarily going to be able to mix it with the midfield cars for too long. Let's aim for P18, see if we can beat one of them on the road, whether that be marginally or whether they get caught up in shenanigans. Otherwise, we all know where I'm going to finish, really. But let's head to the grid for the 2011 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. There's Alonso, McLaren next to him. There's Maldonado, our rival, next to us. You can see Trulli in the background. One light, two lights, three lights, four lights, and five, and it was a very short hold, and away we go in Abu Dhabi. Immediately just trying to find ourselves some space because it gets a little bit crowded into turn one, but we pick our way through, as does Maldonado actually, as we have to back off as the guys in front all stack up. So much so, we find ourselves in P8, Rosberg backs off. Up P7 then, we pass Nico Rosberg and up behind Mark Webber. Great first couple of corners, just trying to pick our way through the carnage. Don't think we're going to be here for long though. Rosberg already outpacing us down here. Plenty of races like this season where we've low, got a really great start and found ourselves, well, in positions we shouldn't be. As usual, fight hard. Very likely to go backwards here. However, all work into our favour for our objective, being this far up. Wide through the penultimate corner. We'll slow it down for the final one. We'll nearly lose the rear, which will let Heidfeld in past Rosberg, but we cross the line at the end of the first lap in P7. Heidfeld's going to have a go here. We'll just drift gently over, cover the line. Going to be a miraculous victory like there was last season. Already about 4 or 5 seconds off Mark Webber. Run deep into the penultimate corner again. Heidfeld on our inside for the final one, but he backs out with it.
DRS is now enabled.
Well, this is the point they're all just going to go breezing past me down the straights. There goes Nick Heidfeld.
Win that place back. Come on, you can get him.
See the speed differential. He has DRS as well, but we'll get him on the brakes into the chicane.
We're 7 places up on our predicted finish. Come on, keep going.
Yellow flag behind us. We've lost someone. Lost or there's been an incident. It wasn't. Well, it might have been Heidfeld, you know. We've given him enough space. Somebody way off the back of the field there. Yes, I don't think that's Heidfeld because because they've just gone through the chicane in the middle of this long back straight section, so bounce the car over the curbs. I think it's somebody further back in the pack. Defending from Adrian Sittil. Currently level on points, us two. Stands, I'd be moving ahead, but I don't think it's going to stand like this for the rest of the race as Rosberg goes past him. Valiantly defending at the moment. It'll all be in vain, but we're pushing nonetheless. Rosberg on our tail at the moment.
Now's a good time to pit.
Michael Schumacher that I think the yellow flag was for, because he's the one down at the back. He's made a pit stop as well. Just he might have had to replace his front wing. A bit like Barrichello in Korea. Pulls in, Hamilton's in. Just about getting ourselves. Rosberg follows us in. Few staying out, few coming in. Maldonado either already been in or has had an issue because he's slipped to 19th. Let's see what happens with getting out. Well, we will get out in front of everybody.
Watch out for
Careful
traffic as you
through the
rejoin the
exit.
track.
Bounce across the curbs there. We're into
We put a new set of prime tyres on the car. You have 2 stops remaining.
P12. We had gained a little on Rosberg, but I'm pretty sure we've probably lost that already.
That Rosberg will be stopping in 3 laps' time.
Rosberg on the faster tyre here. Like India seem to be on the alternate strategy. Cars in the pits here.
Barrichello has just turned into the pit lane.
Obviously the way this pit exit is. Make sure you beat them there, and we do. We regain P7. So far so good in this one. Still such a long way to go though. Worry on the ultimate strategy as well is that when they all come in, then get released into free air. I'm not going to have the pace to stay ahead of them. Rosberg with the overspeed will squeeze him to the edge of the track. He's going to have the inside into the chicane. Do we outbrake him? We do. And then he's just on the power so much better. And he's through. I feel like that'll be him gone, but we'll try and stay in his slipstream here.
It looks to us like Webber is going to pit within the next few laps.
Well, yeah, we're going to have to rejoin them back in front, and we do. And we immediately shuffle him wide and regain P7. Just couldn't stop in time for that chicane. We went across it, let Rosberg go back in front, and then immediately attacked him on the next corner. On the edge of fair, but we've seen a few times this season. We've just got to be able to do what we can most of the time. So takes a look at the narrowest of gaps. Once again, we're going to kind of shepherd him to the side. He's going to have Perez with him. Perez has actually moved past. Oh, it's all getting a bit feisty back there. Somebody almost sideways. Looks like it could have been a Lotus Renault. It's got a really good run off the hairpin. Again, we'll just sort of sit in the way. Rosberg's back through now. A bit wide through the chicane. Gonna have to ride the curb a little bit, get a warning. Not the first one today. Kind of blocked Rosberg off, which has given Perez another opportunity. We've got a Force India there as well. And Perez is going to go racing by. Just about get it stopped to regain the position, and Sutil's jumped both of them. He's back behind us now. Sutil stays out. He must be on the primes as well. I'm going to come in at the end of this one. It appears I've done enough to stay out ahead of the likes of Rosberg. I don't know if I will have.
We're being caught by the guy behind.
Especially not with that.
Focus, we can get that place back.
Until goes through, but we'll once again break him into the chicane.
That's 7th place. You've moved up to 7th.
I'd like to think a couple of these guys behind are going to follow us in. Sutil does. Petrov does not. Will we make it out ahead of the guys we were fighting against?
Go.
We'll get out ahead of Sutil.
There's some traffic at the pit exit. Watch out as you rejoin the track.
The exit was terrible. Manual control that early in the exit's unusual, but we're out ahead of Kobayashi.
We've put a new set of the option tyres on the car. That leaves just one stop remaining. The car ahead is running on the prime tyre. We have an advantage here.
So we're somehow still in this fight.
The Red Bull pit crew are preparing for a stop. We're not sure which
actually having a
driver it
look.
is yet.
Really about if we can get back ahead of Vitaly Petrov, because we might be fighting for this position for the rest of this race. Should certainly be something. Petrov is in. He appears to be leaving the pits. Tight. Does just about get in front of us. Kobayashi looking everywhere. We get DRS though, which is going to aid us, if not to attack, more to defend. We'll go across to defend from the Sauber. Yeah, Petrov started down in 18th. We started one spot ahead of him. They're both doing bits. And lap after lap, just looking behind us down this straight. It would be fantastic if we could maintain this to the end. Kobayashi once again, he sells the dummy.
Keep on him, he might make a mistake.
Late on the brakes. Oh, but he's done me this time. He's on the prime as well. He's going to run longer. Sutil's going to have a think about this too. Starting to slip back.
We think that Sutil is due to pit soon, probably within the next couple of laps.
We'll hold Sutil off.
The pit window is open, come in this lap.
We almost loop it around turn one. The tyres are shot. Getting at the end of this one. Maybe should have taken the opportunity to go a lap earlier. We spin into the pits. That's possibly going to cost us, although we get held behind Barrichello.
Watch out for traffic as you rejoin the track.
Feel points are gone now.
We're slightly down on where we expected to finish. Keep pushing.
See though if we can do something. We've got DRS. Look at it. The rest that flies on by. Right, break him into the chicane. And we're very nearly back with Barrichello, but I think we're going to get jumped and slip out of the points. little bit aggressive with Barrichello there. Took a few liberties with curbs as well. It's okay, we're past him. Our car's in the pits. It does look like they're already leaving. I think it was the people we were fighting. I think there might have been though. Jump back in front of somebody. I think it was Perez. More cars in the pits. We're going to get back past them.
Schumacher's in the pit lane. Schumacher has entered the pit lane.
Schumacher in, Heidfeld as well, I think. Adrian Sutil just out in front of us. We're P11.
You're coming up on a group of slow-moving cars. Try to pass them quickly.
Going up to Trulli as well to lap him. He might just miss out on the points here, and to the person we're fighting in the championship. Trulli can do us a bit of a favour. Look like he has. Latviano Trulli, and not for the first time this season, as Buemi goes past Di Resta behind us. It does look like Adrian Sutil's got away. Very wide there. All cars in the pits. It looks like Alguersuari's one of them.
Shorter stint. He's had the optional tyres fitted to the car.
Alguersuari was in the points. It was a positional swap, and we're up to P10. We are now fighting for points. Glock and the HRTs that have Carter Cayenne. We are now, as I say, fighting for points with Sebastian Buemi. Only a few laps left. Sure, we'll fall behind Sutil in the championship unless he drops out.
Webber's really going for it. He's just put up a new fastest lap.
But it will be our second point scoring position if we can just stay here for the next few laps. Dive up the inside of Carter Cayenne, try and use him to block Buemi, doesn't work. Once again.
We have a problem with DRS. You won't be able to activate it.
Once again he had a look at the hairpin. Now we've got a problem with DRS, but we're the ones under attack. We're not in behind somebody to defend with it. Bit deep into the chicane, that's going to compromise us, but we're okay for now. Wide into the penultimate corner, nearly lose it on the curb. A little bit sloppy with a couple to go. Oh boy, me into the back of us. Sutil way up ahead of us. He will overtake us in the championship, even if it stays the way it is. We both score, but well, I'm not going to matter. Or I'm not going to worry too much about if we come out of this with P10. This is our final lap then in Abu Dhabi. Much like India before, It's a last lap with a fight on, but this time it's to stay in P10 as Fernando Alonso takes victory. And we've just cost ourselves P10.
You've taken some slight damage to the front wing. You should be okay to stay out.
What a time to make a mistake. Rode the curb. Lost the rear end. Clipped the wall. Oh, that's devastating. We're going to end up finishing P15 through our own stupidity, really. We weren't far off getting lapped as well, that's the worst thing. If we had been, it would have all been done and we would have finished 10th. Such a strong race. Lots of defensive driving and then it's just one mistake right at the death. Costs us 5 positions and we spin at the end really just to really add to the issues we've had. What a terrible end to this one. P15 in Abu Dhabi, but it could have been so much better.
Good race, well done. I'll see you back at the garage.
15th place ahead of Heidfeld, Barrichello, Maldonado, Perez, D'Ambrosio, Kartikayan, Liuzzi, Glock and Trulli. Up at the top end of things, Alonso takes victory from Massa with Vettel in third, then it's Button and Webber, Hamilton, Petrov, Kobayashi, Sutil in 9th. 10th place goes to Buemi, although that could have been ours, probably should have been. Then it's Di Resta, Rosberg, Schumacher, Alguersuari and ourselves. That means that we slip to 17th in the drivers, 2 points behind Adrian Sutil now. Still ahead of Maldonado, Barrichello, D'Ambrosio, Glock, Kartikeyan, Liuzzi and Trulli. At the top end, Webber holds a 12-point lead going into the final round. And it's a 17-point lead over his teammate, Sebastian Vettel. He's on the cusp of retaining that trophy. Button's 4th, with Hamilton 5th, Massa 6th, then is Schumacher, Petrov, Rosberg, Heidfeld, Perez, Alguersuari, Kobayashi, Di Resta, Buemi, Sutil. In the constructors, we remain 9th ahead of Williams, ahead of Virgin Racing and HRT. Constructors' title had already been done and dusted. Red Bull winning it. Ferrari moving back into 2nd. Now, just 8 points clear of McLaren. Then there's Mercedes, Lotus, Sauber, Toro Rosso and Force India. And what a crushing blow right at the death there. 10th place, had been fighting for that point for so long. Had basically spent the entire race in the points. And then won. Lapse of judgment, I guess, on the curbs as we headed down into the end of the first sector. We lose the rear, spin the car, tap the wall. We span at the end as well, which would have been even more galling, but by that point we were just driving angry, I guess. So disappointing. Missed out on points. But there's one more chance to try and get them, and that is Brazil. Hopefully you'll join me for that one. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, comment, do all the good stuff. You know the drill by now. Take care of yourselves. See you soon.